Bobby said he was a.
Yeah, we're good. No, we're good.
Okay, this meeting is now called to order. Roll call.
Commissioner Lobo,
Here.
Commissioner Walton,
Here.
Commissioner Daniels,
Here.
Commissioner Moulton,
Here.
Commissioner White, Commissioner Gaines,
Here.
Vice Chair Nielsen,
Here.
Chair Maxwell.
Present.
For the record, we have a quorum.
Good. Okay, the next order of business is public comment. Members of the public wishing to address this commission on matters within the jurisdiction of the city of Seaside, but not on this agenda, may do so during the public comment period for up to 3 minutes. Comments on specific agenda items are heard under that item. For the public record, please state your name.
Members of the public wishing to make public comment, please approach the podium.
Okay, so seeing no members of the public approaching the podium, public comment is closed. Business item number 3 is approval of minutes from our April 15th, 2024 meeting. I will entertain a motion to approve.
Please speak to the mic.
Turn it on.
I move that we approve the minutes from April, what was the date?
Tax day.
15th, 2024, with any necessary corrections.
I second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes from our April 15th, 2024 meeting. Anything on the question? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Okay, review of the agenda. If there are any items that arose after the 72-hour posting deadline, this is the point in the meeting where a vote may be taken to add the item to the agenda. A 2/3 majority vote is required. Less, no, none? Okay, we don't need a motion for that. Do I need to call for public comment after that? No, okay, we did nothing. Okay, business item 5A, discuss and review potential locations to have a new volleyball court. And this was brought up by Commissioner Walton.
I brought that up because at the last meeting, we were talking about potentially putting where we would put the volleyball court. And if you drive down Del Monte going towards the wharf, PG, you know, they have that nice volleyball court there that everyone who comes into town sees. And they have the nice volleyball court at Lovers Point. And so my thought is, could we be more strategic about where we place our volleyball court so that it could be more visible and could potentially get more participation? So someplace like Laguna Grande Park, or, you know, I'm just tossing that out, not saying that's where it should be, but could we be more strategic about our placement of the volleyball court?
Thank you. If any commissioners have any thoughts or input? Questions? Commissioner Lobo.
Is there any recommendations on locations that you have seen that could potentially be an area that I guess gives us the same amount that we have right now?
That's a really good question, and I don't, but Laguna Grande Park, I don't know if there is room there. But since we've got the grant and we're doing work there, maybe? No.
Well, the grant can't be used for that.
Okay,
The grant is specifically for the trail and that's it. So anything added there would be new construction.
okay.
Correct. Commissioner Gaines.
I think a good spot for a volleyball court would be up San Pablo. In the, what is that park?
Lincoln Cunningham,
Lincoln Cunningham.
isn't that where it was recommended?
I believe it was recommended and then,
FOSTA.
and then everybody declined it.
I think we talked about putting new sand at the current one and then the location of the volleyball court in Lincoln Cunningham was right next to the amphitheater, right? And that it wouldn't be sand, it would just be something else. And I think we never talked about it after that, so.
Well, I don't, maybe Public Works Director can step on down, but I recall that when it was brought up in the conceptual plan, there was conversation about it, and then I think there was multiple plans. And that the vote was to go with the plan that didn't have the volleyball court in it, with one of those ones. At Lincoln Cunningham, that's what I recall.
Yeah, and I'm gonna have to get back to the commission on it because I've forgotten. Okay. Maybe next time.
I believe that was a correct statement that Dan Mewis stated. That it was talked about and then it was omitted off of the after the discussions and such. Commissioner Lobo?
But these plans can be changed, right? I mean, the whole premise of it was we can have a starting block and then they, as we progress, we can change them. So it's a standing live document.
Well, they were conceptual plans, so it's my understanding that once we were ready to go out to bid on the construction of the park, that then we could make necessary changes to that, and then we could go back to that plan. I'm assuming yes or no. Maybe Nisha can just give me a head nod so I can. Yeah. So there's no design or anything yet. We just have the conceptual piece, so we can always throw it in there when we get to the design phase.
Okay, my thoughts are that we already have the volleyball court and we are working on getting donations for the sand and the border thing to hold that sand. And we don't really have a lot of money to work with for other stuff anywhere. Commissioner Nielsen?
I agree. We do have a volleyball net court that needs to be finished in kind of a usable, I mean, people use it, but it's not the safest and it's not really an official volleyball surface. And I agree that we should work on that. And I know somebody has brought up the issue of the ball's going to go out in the street. Well, balls go out in the street anyhow. And maybe if that's a concern, we can still work with putting something up, not a wall, but something that could catch the volleyballs, but people use that, and I haven't heard that as an issue at this point, but I think it's important to finish that project before we start looking at other areas to put volleyball courts.
I'm in agreement with that. We need to take care of what we have. Does anyone else have anything further? Okay. Yes, Vice Chair.
I don't want to disregard Commissioner Walton's idea. I think your idea is to have it in a volleyball court in a more visible area for people that don't know where volleyball courts are, and that might be coming into town. Or, no, okay.
Just someplace more visible, more accessible. And to most of the citizens of Seaside. And I think Lincoln Cunningham is very near to me, so I think it's a great location, but for the majority of the citizens of Seaside, it's not readily accessible and it's not convenient.
Right. And I didn't mean to sound like I was
Oh,
discounting your
no,
idea.
I didn't think you were.
Okay,
No offense taken.
very good. Okay. Anything further? Moving on. Business item B, discuss and review the boards, commissions, and committees. Oh, excuse me. Let's back up. Okay, public comment is now open.
When wishing to make public comment, please approach the podium.
Okay, seeing no one approach the podium, public comment is closed. Thank you, Vice Chair. Okay, business item 5B. Discuss and review the boards, commissions, and committees handbook and the requirements of being a Parks and Recreation Commissioner. And this was agendized by myself and Vice Chair Nielsen. Everybody has a copy of the updated handbook. And just for my own knowledge, can I have a show of hands? How many commissioners have attended the orientations? At least one in the past? You didn't attend a an orientation? I thought I saw you. Here. You weren't here? Oh my God, you have a double. There was one, it was probably 6 months ago.
So I know that there was one, I misspoke when we gave Chris, Commissioner Moulton, some information. There was one in July of 2022, and then there was also one in 2023.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, well, anyway,
I don't know if it was July of 23. I know Dominique, that's where this one came from. The new book. This came from 2023.
that's what I said 6 months, but it's a little farther, but
It was July. Yeah,
okay.
and there was only that one session. It wasn't recorded, as far as I know. Because
Exactly.
I requested that it be available for us to attend after that one session.
It was recorded, and I have a copy of the recording that we will send to you as soon as we get back to the office.
Okay, so, and I also spoke with, our city clerk, Dominique Davis, and she is planning on scheduling a future, orientation, session and to be held at Oldemeyer Center since it's a bigger venue. And, I hope you all can attend. I try to go as much as I can because things are updated and I might have missed something the last time because I am chatty. But anyway, do we want to read through this, or can we give the commissioners some homework to look at these? Is there highlighted revisions or?
I don't think there's any highlighted
Okay.
revisions.
So why don't we do this? Why don't we give the commissioners some homework to look through this? And then we'll wait and see down the road when Dominique schedules a orientation. And hopefully we can all attend that. Because going through this would take a long time. But it is important to know what our responsibilities are and what sort of behaviors that we are held to. We're held to a high standard, really, because we're representing the city in the public's eye. So I hope everybody has time to look this over. Yes, Vice Chair Nielsen.
Thank you. I would recommend that we just read the code of conduct and ethics. That one, double-sided page.
You want me to do that, or would you like to?
Um, you could do that.
I can. You.
I mean, if everybody,
Oh, I see.
if everybody thinks that's okay,
No, that's fine. That's
um,
fine. I'm probably the one that needs to read this one and really understand it. Okay. Code of conduct. This was adopted November 7th, 2019. City of Seaside elected officials, members of boards, commissions, and committees, and staff, officials, in parentheses, in quotations, have an obligation to conduct themselves in accordance with the local, state, and federal laws and regulations, including ethics regulations, and in accordance with the following code of conduct. Any person in government service should be appreciative. It is a privilege to serve the citizens of and visitors to the city of Seaside. The opportunity to serve should be understood to be a unique and fleeting opportunity that is approached with gratitude. Kind. The city of Seaside is a municipal service organization. The city exists to serve its citizens, visitors, business owners, and employees, and can most effectively do so by demonstrating unsparing kindness to each other and those they come in contact with while representing the city. Can everyone hear me? Okay. Civil. Life in public service demands respectful and supportive behavior. At all times, representative of the city are to be courteous and polite to each other and everyone they meet. Inquisitive. One of Seaside's great treasures is its remarkable diversity. Seaside officials are immersed in diverse cultures, perspectives, and traditions, and must be genuinely interested in and supportive of, rather than judgmental about other cultures, perspectives, and traditions. Caring. The youngest, most economically modest, and most inclusively reverent community on the Monterey Peninsula, Seaside exists to be the community where we care for one another, where we create brighter futures for our community's children, where we take care of those in the sunset of their lives, and where we reach out to those in need, whoever they may be. Humble. Look, we're pretty awesome, but let's just be low key about it. That's me. Okay, self-aware. Listen more, speak less. Contribute more, complain less. Smile more, frown less. You live in, work for, contribute to a remarkable city and community. Be appreciative. Okay. And The next page is ethics. Did you say that one too? Oh, okay. I'm on a roll here. Ethics. Assembly Bill number 1234 requires that all members of a legislative body must undergo public service ethics training every 2 years. The requirement applies to the governing body of local agency as well as council, boards, commissions, and committees, or other local agency bodies, whether permanent or temporary, decision-making or advisory. Therefore, you are required to complete this training. The Institute for Local Government and the Fair Political Practices Commission developed an online ethics course to help local officials meet their ethics training requirements. Upon completion of the ethics training, members are required to print their certificate, sign it, and return the original hard copy document to the clerk's office. Got it? Yes, Vice Chair Nielsen.
Thank you. On that, that was great. Thank you very much for reading that. It was good for me. On that last paragraph, the online ethics course. So if we haven't had a training ourselves that we've been able to attend for 2 years, we should be doing this, right? Is that correct? Or is that's what it says here, but I don't know if that's.
That is correct. I know that staff, we have access to an online ethics course through a platform that we use. I don't know if the commissioners are included in that, and I can reach out and find out because it's really simple. It's just an overall like training platform that we have. So I'll see if the commission can be added to that for that.
Or it does have the address, the website address right here, where you can go for this training.
Then that's
Correct.
what page is that on?
So that,
Ethics page.
I don't know. It's like the
There's this one.
third page. The back of the third page, number 6, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, that's a different one than we use for staff. So yeah, that would be the course. You should go in, everyone should be going in there to do that every 2 years. And then if I would assume that once you're done, you would then get a certificate, and then that's what you would send to the clerk's office.
So for myself, I haven't been trained, had a training for 2 years. So I would need to do that because that's what it's asking us to do.
Yes.
Thank you.
Every one of you, and if you don't have that training certificate on file, should go to this website and take the training.
Commissioner Lobo.
It doesn't necessarily have to be from this website, right? If you've taken an ethics course through another board, would that be sufficient certificate?
I believe it should be, as long as it's within, the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Okay. Public comment is now open.
Members of the public wishing to address the commission, please approach the podium.
Seeing no members of the public approaching the podium, public comment is now closed. Okay. Our next item is reports from recreation staff.
No,
It's not. Hey, on my agenda, it doesn't have nothing else on there. Where?
C.
Oh, I crossed that off. Oh, my bad. I apologize to everyone. Okay. No. Okay, my apologies. All right, so backing up to 5C, I was trying to get this meeting over, right? Discuss and adopt the Parks and Recreation Commission fiscal year 2024-2025 work. Okay,
All right, so after the last meeting where we took all the input from the commission, we put it into the work plan. The one thing we forgot to do was to officially adopt the work plan. So we want to give the commission one more bite at the apple, take a look at it, see if there's any changes or revisions that we need to be made. Then after we discuss those, we will then hopefully make a vote to pass the work plan with any necessary revisions. So that way we can send it off to the city clerk, and then it will be attached with the budget for during the upcoming budget meetings.
and my apologies to my fellow commissioners because I dropped the ball on that one. But apparently we had some new info or new ideas. So Commissioner Lobo.
So I had an opportunity this past week to kind of just review our work plan and the work plans that were, I guess, created in the past. And I also had an opportunity to look at a couple of other municipalities within California and then Washington as well. So what I did is put together a document with kind of my recommendations on how we should restructure our work plan. It similarly includes all the objectives and goals that we have, but it kind of streamlines and it kind of directs us as well as the Parks and Recs departments on what to prioritize. Within that document, I did have a couple of questions because I was unaware of the length of when this commission was formed. So perhaps Dan can answer, or anyone that has been in the commission. It was established in 1954. So since the inception of the commission, do we know how many times our mission statement or the document itself has been updated or reviewed for updates?
The work plan document?
No, just the mission statement. So the first parts of our document. It looks like it has never been, but I could be wrong, but just in fact of when we go through the historical background, it tells you have any of these points ever been reviewed for updating or even the mission statement?
To my knowledge, no, since I've been here. When I first started in 2015, the work plan or the commission itself was actually dormant. We revised it, I believe, in 2016, and we followed the same documents or the language that's currently here now. And I believe that is the documents and the language that is in the ordinance.
Yeah.
So that's the way the ordinance is written. So I don't know if the ordinance has been changed at any time to reflect.
Okay, so during my research, I didn't see that ordinance ever come down the pipeline for changing, so it seems like it's been inactive since 1954 without review or changes. So this document kind of just inhibits what we potentially can change it to, kind of restructuring the duties of the commission and our current statement, including a vision and a mission and a value statement. This is going to go to the board. So if we wanted to make those changes to include that, I did put the document together. I was still finishing it up today, just adding the information, but I wanted you all to have it, and hopefully that we can maybe table this to the next meeting before we approve to see if anyone would like to add those or not, or if they had their own recommendations. But I think it's a lot of areas where just adding to the work plan would be on page 4 is where I really start proposing what we can address. I know that transportation and our trails are one item that we wanted to focus on, and I've heard a lot of feedback with regards to that. So perhaps creating a body for an active transportation plan to understand, a subcommittee to understand where Dan is in his project with Laguna Grande, and then including the trails that are gonna be going into Cunningham and Lincoln and Havana. And kind of just refocusing on the things that we already have, but more purposeful, because just the short time that I've been in the commission, I know that we've focused a lot on trees and maintaining that. But we've kind of left off the recreation part and those items. So this kind of refocuses that on what we're working now, but also including some of those recreation items.
Just for a point of clarification, we are almost 2 months behind on getting the work plan submitted. So there is no real possibility for us to extend it one other meeting because we have to adopt it. So it can be part of the budget cycle in the beginning of June. We can make revisions, minor revisions to the work plan that we can make those adjustments. I don't know. I mean, the commission can by all means explore this and see what they want to add and change. But if there's anything that's going to actually like change the ordinance, that's a bigger question.
So it does change the ordinance, but this is an opportunity for us to do that. One of my main concerns is, even though this document was created in 1954, we have followed it, but nothing in our work plan within the last 15 years have ever really dealt with the recommendations of policies within the recreational department. We've never covered that. None of that has also given us the opportunity to directly have conversation with recreation director with regards to administration and development of recreation areas within the staff that he has. Some of my recommendations in this document allows for that, for staff support and community enrichment, to include that. So I think it would behoove us to actually look at this and hold off to it, because from my understanding, the last meeting, we hadn't even done, the staff hadn't even gone to budget. You guys hadn't had your budget, mid-year budget review. So for us to continue to do the work that we do and even just adhere to the current policy, none of our work plans have ever touched that, and we're not touching it now this year either. So that's just my recommendations. If we decide to go forward, it's going to be another year before we make those recommendations. And by the time that we keep getting this information to this board, it's at the last minute. So even if I would have submitted this last board or last meeting that we had, we didn't have all our commissioners to even vote on that. And I think that's why we didn't vote on it. But these are the moments that we do these changes, and that's why we're here to do them. Specifically the ordinance, because it hasn't been changed since 1954.
That was a long time ago. That's when I was born. So. Pardon me? Does anybody have, Commissioner Daniels?
I think Commissioner Lobo hit on a strong point that us as commission, we don't really dive deep into recreations. Just from my experience, the last 2 years, we've dealt with 90% parks. So I guess that is a question for the commission is how do, or even if we have the ability to dive a little deeper into recreations, like know what kind of services, like, I mean, she touched on like policy, which kind of, I guess is placed in a work plan. But I guess my question is, how do us as a commission advocate for parks and recs in like the budget cycle if we don't really know what's going on? I mean, has the budget for the city been published yet?
It has not. The staff have been working on them over the last 2 weeks. So we're developing it now. And then with that, we will be coming to council on June 11th and June 12th. So right now our budgets are being tweaked, but most of them have already been, we've had our department meetings with the city manager, acting city manager, and the acting finance director. And now the finance department's reviewing it and then coming back to us and let us know what we need to tweak. And I'll say that this was a weird budget cycle. losing our finance director and everything kind of shifted where we were moving and it delayed the process a bit. And we had our mid-year budget that got delayed, I want to say 3 or 4 council meetings as well. So it pushed everything back.
Commissioner or Vice Chair Nielsen.
Thank you. I agree. I'm glad you brought that up, Carla. It does call for updating, modernizing, taking into consideration, some things don't change, but there are a lot of pieces in here that we could update. My question would be, if we see a need for a program, I think that could be brought to the attention to staff through meetings, correct?
Correct.
Or even outside of meetings, you could mention this to recreation department staff. And I think you have a pretty strong program, different programs, an array of different programs. We do have facility issues where there's only so much you can program in one place, but I think starting with, looking at this over the next 9 months or so to change this, I think is a good idea to just update it. And I think because your programs are pretty much in place and working well, that's probably why we haven't dealt with that much. Anyhow, yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about.
Anyone else? Commissioner Moulton.
As far as the mission statement and the proposed changes, I agree. I think, it's a little antiquated perhaps, and we can definitely look ahead, it sounds like, to the next kind of next cycle to make those changes. And that's something that we could add to the work plan for 24-25. But moving on to page 4, as far as like the actual items that we have, it just seems like some of them are redundant. Some of them, like for instance, seek grant funds. For what? Do we have like a specific target, or we're just go out and look for money, and when you get it, come back and we'll do something with it? To me, that's like a horrible thing to do. I don't know. I'm just voicing my opinion, but it seems like if there's a specific reason for it, sure, we should definitely do that. But if we're just out there looking for money, I don't know. It doesn't seem like something that's going to be effective for our commission to pursue. I also see number 2, which is increase the community's awareness of the public input process. That covers number 8 and number 6, which is seek input for needs and have commission participate tabling at Blues in the Park. If you look at the proposed activities, literally tabling at events is right in there. So we might be able to trim that out. And then going back to the document that was brought to our attention in item B, on the commission's page, literally creating a forum to encourage broad citizen participation, acting as a review body for department operations. It's like something we should automatically do. So I don't even see why 2 is on there, or 8 or 6. And then let's see, number 4 covers number 9 and 13 as well. Number 4 is work cooperatively with FOSPA and other city commissions, homeless, NIC, SAHC, environmental. And the proposed activities collaborate with other city commissions and FOSPA, participate in park cleanups and other activities and events. If you go to 9, 9 is work with other commissions for 15 new trees planted. It seems like that could be covered by 4. And then 13 is help provide funds for seeds, plants, and equipment, which is done by working cooperatively with the other, with FOSPA and other commissions. And then kind of back to what Vice Chair Nielsen said, as far as recreation, I see number 10 is the implement a water safety program for local youth. And the action is once per year, field WSI and screen volunteers to run a drown proofing for the community. I'm super for it, but if it's like an already established annual thing, does it belong on the work plan?
It can as a constant support from the commission as that like that was their focal point. Like we did have a commissioner that was one of their projects, and so that it stayed on there because it is a need for the community, and we do need, you know, the advocacy for it to continue with it.
Okay, perfect. And my last thing, going back to once again our handbook here, if you go to the second to last page, which is the annual work plans page, under fiscal work year or fiscal year work plan, I'll just point at it so you can see kind of where to look. It says this area should provide the goals / objectives, no more than 5 of the work plan. We're at 17. Like maybe just possibly we can consolidate some of these. I don't know. That's just my thoughts. Thank you.
Your points are all well taken. I will speak to the pursuing grant funding because I know Director Mewis pursued grant funding for Laguna Grande and got it to the tune of $1 million or $2 million or something for the rec trail. So that's a necessary thing to pursue grant funding. We also got grant funding when we did the Roberts Lake little eco park. That was essentially free through grant funding through Cal-Am Water and some other programs. So that part of the whole thing is well needed, much needed. And I do agree that some of these items are redundant, but maybe sometimes they need to be. So if we missed them the first time through, we saw them the second time. Does anyone else have any other comments or additions? Vice Chair Nielsen?
Yes, I also appreciate your input, Commissioner Moulton. The SEEK grant funds to me we don't always know exactly what's going to be coming up. I mean, we do on some things, but we would have to change this maybe more often, like maybe 6 months. Because we might be seeking 2 grants in one period of time, fiscal year. So the only thing I could say to that is seek grant funds for city, for supported projects or because the city's gonna have to have money in that too, right?
Correct. And, you know, just a little clarification on that is it is a little vague because you just never know what's going to pop up. And depending on the projects that we're working on, right? We have volleyball court on here. Maybe there's a grant that you see that could help contribute to that. You know, another example was I came across a grant through TAMC that all we had to do was submit a little brief application and some photos, and we got the bike repair stations that are at all of our city facilities that was free. Right. So there are things that if you're out there and you're looking around, you can get different things that can benefit parks and recreation that may not have a lot of legwork that goes into it. Or maybe there are some that have a little bit more legwork, but it could be vital to one of the work plan items that we have. So, whether it's the trails, whether, facilities, I know one of the work plan items was to look for, potential indoor facility for a gym, right? You never know what can be out there, and with all of you looking and keeping your eyes and ears open, the potential, it widens the net, right? I can see things that come through my networks, but each of you all have your own skill set and can get a variety of different networks as well.
Yes, there are the local nonprofits that support some of these ideas also. And the last thing, yeah, there is some redundancy, but in the FOSPA, work with other commissions, public, like planting the 15 trees. That's a specific goal. It's not just working with other commissions in general. It's specific. So the number 4 was general and the number 9 is more specific. And that's my input. Thank you.
Commissioner Lobo.
So back to Commissioner Moulton, position on having so many, right? Though they may be separate, they can all be bolted into one and then have specific steps that we can work with. It just feels like we're being pulled in so many directions with so many. And if we are wanting to follow, I mean, the handbook was created, right? And obviously it was created after 1954. To align with what we are now, it would behoove us to continue this conversation and actually hold and make these changes, because if not, we're going to continue to have these conversations about, okay, maybe next year, maybe the following year. The grants is another great thing that, as an example, where yes, we do need it, but who's directing us to that? How are we coming about it? We know that yearly there are state and federal funds that come down the pipeline every 3 to 5 years so that we can apply. Are we getting those lists? Are we directing someone? Those are the type of directions we need to start thinking about, because if not, we're going to continue to have items like 17 of them. And though they are there and that we want to concentrate on them, we're not actively working them, which defeats the purpose of working plan.
Commissioner Daniels.
I just go back to the historical background and just to get some clarification on the actual duties that we have as a Park and Recs Commission. I mean, it says like recommend policies of recreational services, consult on recreation director on matters related to admin, making periodic inventories of recreational services. That's not something that we currently do. So I just want to, like, I guess for like a clarifying question, I really want to know what's our responsibilities, or how much power, or like how much, or where do we have our hands in the city? Because like I know a lot of us in these spaces, we participate in like recreational activities outside of what the Park and Recs Commission do. So I'm wondering how much power or authority do we have here? Like, for example, like the SYRC Center, like Patulo. I mean, how do we get to a point to where us as commissioners are aware of what's going on in the city, and then also have the ability to advocate and then kind of make recommendations as fit? Because I don't know, it says Park and Recs, but I personally don't feel like we've had our hands in anything recreational, or like, I don't know, I'm just trying to get some clarity on like how far can we go? Like what's our ability? What can we touch? What can we touch? What's our responsibility? And like, what are we just leaving on the table?
In theory, you can set up meetings with me, my staff at any one of those facilities. You get a tour. You can, review our policies and procedures. There is really no limit to the things that you can review and then make recommendations on, right? If you wanted to review, our staff handbook, right, for our policies for our staff, I can send you that document and you can take a look at it, right? And the commission can bring it back and provide recommendations. Like those are the little, like there's a variety of different things that you all can see that we are currently doing in the department, and make your pitch on how you want to improve it, right? You can, I will say, and I was going to bring it up in my report, right? The council just adopted the master plan. Well, that's a great document to dive in, review the master plan, and then see what areas in there that we can start focusing on to move, right? You know, there's lots of talks about events, programs, things like that. We can, you know, review those and bring those back to the commission. You know, if you're out in the public, right? You know that maybe there's a class or a program that you're hearing that they want to see, right? Be that advocate for them. You can, you know, pitch to us, hey, Dan, I heard that we need to have, you know, more youth, I don't know, puddle jumping, whatever it is, I don't know, right? And we can have some events, right? That has to do around that. And that's up to the department to figure it out how we can make it work, right? If the commission comes to consensus and say, hey, yeah, let's try and have that. Let's try and have this new event that, you know, is around community garden, right? Or whatever it is. Take what you are passionate about and let's figure out how we can leverage that into the rec department.
Great answer. Thank you.
And I think Dan hit on a real key point is that we only have the power to make recommendations. The city council is the ones that listens to our recommendations, hopefully. And then either approves or changes them or does whatever. So Commissioner Moulton.
Thank you. I just wanted to go back to clarify. I'm not against free money. But as Commissioner Lobo said, we tend to kind of get off track when we see these grants. All of a sudden it's like, I don't know, a grant for, you know, a new skate park. Cool. Right. So Dan gets the grant and then all of a sudden we're talking about a skate park, which is nowhere on the work plan and it's being diluted, right? I get it. Things come up, but we should have something here that's specifically targeted. I mean, yes, if they're like, take a picture of a kid skateboarding and we'll give you $1 million. Sure, go for it. But then again, we're taken away from our work plan to discuss it. You know what I mean? And so to me, it needs to be more targeted. And then as far as Vice Chair Nielsen said, it brought to my attention something I had noted earlier. There's 17 items on here. 16 are rated high. 1 is rated medium, right? She said, as far as number 4, she was talking about working closely with FOSPA and other commissions. She said it was general and that number 9 was specific. Why is it ranked high if it's just a general thing? Like, hey, we can do that at any time. And then you go to the other one that's specific, it's also high. It should either be lumped together as one high thing, or at very least, we should change the priority rankings of some of these. Because if every one of them is high, then the likelihood of us accomplishing them to any satisfactory degree in my mind is low. That's it. Thank you.
Commissioner Gaines.
I've been listening, and in my opinion, we're not ready to submit this. We're not ready. There are so many things that want to be changed, that is repetitious, and maybe we can come together and revisit this and cut it down. You know, not so many items on the plan. Come back next month. I know you said we don't have any time, but we're just not ready. Or we should make a plan that once this is submitted, that we do an amendment to this work plan. What does everybody think about that? We're not ready.
I do know that we are 2 months behind schedule as far as what historically we are been required really to submit to the council for their approval. And that the due date is April 1st. So the next council meeting is next month. So we're 2 months behind already if we pass this tonight. And one of the reasons is that we didn't have a meeting in one of the months. because we didn't have a quorum. So that's why we really need to really look at our commitment to this commission. And I do know things happen, life happens, whatever. But that's why we're behind. And we really, I think if we need to revisit this thing, we need to call a special meeting so that we can get it done. I don't know what anyone else feels about that, but we are behind already. Vice Chair Nielsen.
When did we receive this to look at it? Was it 2 meetings ago, at least?
Yes, it was and then the last meeting I sent it out the next day for you guys to review.
Yeah, so we talked about it month before last. So if we had looked at it, thoroughly and thought about these things at that time, we would have been able to approve it last meeting. But that was the one where we didn't have a quorum.
No, it was, we made all the revisions at the last meeting and we just forgot to vote on it.
Oh, okay. So basically, what I would say now is because we are so far behind, we need to have time to do this because we don't want to rush through it. And I don't think we can actually do it in one meeting. I think we should approve this and then work on these items throughout the next fiscal year or right away and be able to bring something to the table that's really thoughtful and gives us time to think about things.
And I will say,
Commissioner Lobo.
I disagree with that for the simple fact that even if individuals had an opportunity to look at this, it needed a major overhaul to begin with. So even if we would have started back when this originally was presented to us, we would have still probably gone through this whole process where we are now. Again, if we continue to do this, we will continue to be stuck in 1954. We are not doing a due diligence to our own constituents at all by moving it through. Is it acceptable for the city staff to be behind 2 months and it's not acceptable for us to be behind because staff is behind? No jab at staff, but if we don't have a budget to review, which we are supposed to be looking at a budget, if staff hasn't reviewed a budget and they're already behind, it's up to us to continue to do the will of the people, regardless of what staff is having to do in the back end. It's unacceptable for us to still be in 1954 and we're in 2024. And now we're making excuses on why we should put it on for the next meeting and for the next, and maybe put it on the work plan that already has 17 items that we don't even know which one we're going to prioritize because 16 of them are already high priority. So, I mean, next month it could be something else. Next year it could be something else. So at where are we going to draw the line? Because from the gate, we're not following either one of our, not our mission statement, not in the commission, but also not as the handbook. So what we're saying here is that we're accepting not following the same policies and procedures that were enacted in 1954 and when this was created, which I don't see a date on. Because I'm pretty sure there's no other commissions that have 17 plus work plan items.
You're probably absolutely right, because this commission does a whole heck of a lot of work with parks and recreation. We do. There's a lot of items that are included in that whole thing, not just whatever little this or that. Well, I'll entertain a motion to do whatever your pleasure is. Commissioner Moulton.
Thank you, Chair Maxwell. I don't have a motion at this time. My question is to Mr. Mewis. What are the ramifications of not turning this in by June 6th or 5th?
I would need to get that information from the city clerk on I don't know the exact reason on why we needed to submit it April 1st, but there is an official, deadline.
Okay. We're still on discussion of this. It's not public comment yet. Does anyone have a motion to put this off?
I have a motion to
Accept it.
table it for a special meeting within the next 2.5 weeks. That should give us enough time to review it, add, maybe consolidate. I'm not saying we can't have all 17. I'm saying that those 17 can be reduced to 5 and have steps within those 5 to work the plan.
Okay, it's been motioned to table this
Special meeting.
and have a special meeting in the next 2.5 weeks. That's kind of a broad thing. That's fine with me. Do I hear a second?
I recommended that because we're 2 weeks off of June 6th. And we'd still be able to meet the deadline that Dan gave us, and give us sufficient enough time.
As long as it's on a Monday. I know Wednesday I have to go up to Stanford University or hospital. I mean, what is it? Oh, you're correct. That's my son's birthday too. Okay, well, we don't have a second anyway, so it's kind of a moot point.
Do you have a date for the meeting? That's after the holiday?
What is the Memorial Day holiday?
27th.
Oh, it's before, okay.
Mhm.
Commissioner Moulton.
Thank you. I know for sure I'm out of town on the 3rd of June. But can you give us any kind of idea of the ramifications, or anyone in the chamber give us any idea of the ramifications of not having this submitted or approved and submitted by June 6th, please?
City Attorney, do you have any?
Public.
Thank you, members of the commission. A very interesting discussion. Since this, about a year ago, the city had adopted a strategic plan. And so the idea behind this work plan and that strategic plan is how those go together with the budget. So that's why your work plan is important, is to tie what this commission is doing with the budgetary process. So it's designed to marry together, and it's only the second year in operation like that. So realistically, I don't know if it's going to be a huge impact. It would be great if you had a special meeting and could at least give some indication to the city council and during the work, the draft budget review hearings, which as Mr. Mewis outlined for you are going to be on June 11th and June 12th. So there's a whole section on the boards and commissions, when the boards and commissions can go over what their work plan is, what their anticipation is, how many funds they think they're going to need for their job and their mission for the year. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for your expertise, City Attorney.
With
Anything?
that being said, I second. We have time.
Okay, hold on now. What was your motion now? Do you have a special meeting
To have a special meeting in 2 weeks,
on what,
June 3rd.
and you second that?
I did.
For the record, June 3rd, we are having a Seaside Stars Committee meeting, and I will be unavailable on that day.
Oh, my.
Can we change the date?
I don't know. I don't know what date we could change it to, but the fourth, the fifth. Because
Um,
we'd still review it. We have until the 11th and 12th, so.
We can do it the fifth, but I'm gonna be sort of grouchy because I have to wake up really early to go up to Stanford and have a CT scan with contrast. And those are no fun. Commissioner Moulton.
I will be out of town also on the fifth. I will be out of town that entire week, just so you know.
I'll probably be glowing in the dark that night. Okay, so, yes, Commissioner Moulton.
Thank you. Is there a way I can make like a different motion, even though she already made a motion?
Well,
Mine was second, though. We have
we-
to vote on it.
Yeah, we need to
No,
vote
Okay.
on this
cannot.
one first.
They could shut it down.
You can add a friendly amendment or substitute, but you can't substitute unless we.
Unless you agree. Correct. June, whatever,
June 3rd.
and then there's the Seaside Stars.
Maybe we have it June 10th. Just pushing it right between 11 and 12.
Commissioner Daniels.
Can I friendly amend to June 10th?
If you're in agreement to that,
Yes.
you want to second the friendly amendment?
I second.
Okay. Anything else under, Vice Chair Nielsen?
I just want to say I will not be here on the 10th,
Well, we still would have a quorum if
Yeah.
everyone else.
which
We-
is fine. I just wanted
Okay.
to let you know.
But you can still submit your stuff.
And anyone else?
Public comment.
Okay, opening it up for public comment. We have a motion on the floor to have a special meeting June 10th, and it's been seconded. Public comments now open.
Anyone in the chamber wishing to make public comment, please approach the podium.
Okay, seeing no one approach the podium, public comment is closed. So. Do we get do a roll call vote or what?
Yes, we'll do a roll call
Yeah,
vote.
thank you.
So the motion was to have a special meeting on June 10th at 5:30. Depending on availability of the chamber, we may need to have the meeting in Oldenmeyer potentially. I'd have to check that. Commissioner Lobo,
Yes.
Commissioner Walton,
Abstain.
Commissioner Daniels,
Yes.
Commissioner Moulton,
No.
Commissioner White, Commissioner Gaines,
Yes.
Commissioner Nielsen,
Yes.
Chair Maxwell.
Aye.
So your motion passes with 4, 1 abstention and 1 nay.
Okay. So special meeting is set for June 10th, 5:30. Location to be determined. Okay, the next item is reports from recreation staff.
Brief report, we had our registration day for summer fall last Monday. Went pretty well, getting a lot of good registrations for camps, classes, everything for the summer. Swim lessons is full for the first 2 months. We'll have a second swim registration in August. We have the lineup set for Blues in the Park. There should have been some social media push go out with the bands that are out there. We'll be doing more promo and PR for that. 4th of July is being put together really nicely. We have a good opportunity to partner with the farmer's market because it's on Thursday. So the farmer's market will be going on at the same time as the 4th of July event. So that's pretty exciting to have going on. So we're looking forward to that as well. On April 29th, I had the pleasure of going to Richmond with the mayor to tour the Richmond Fab Lab. And it is basically, it's a STEM center. It's at this one was at John F. Kennedy High School in Richmond. They basically turned the auto shop into this fully functional STEM lab with dozens of 3D printers, laser cutters, everything you would need to have all the technology for the kids, not only at the school, but it's open for the community. As we are partnering with Chevron and we'll hopefully be getting a Fab Lab here in Seaside. We are working on the details now. Chevron is going to be sending us the prospectus and we'll be reviewing that. So hopefully we'll be having that come on board in 2025 is the goal. We're looking at putting it in a trailer, like a modular building behind the pool over on our property over there. So this will be really cool for the community, not only for all of our rec programs, but just for the community in general. So I will keep the commission open with that. And on a side note, we did get a side $10,000 grant from Chevron as well for our STEM program. So that has been funneled back into our already existing programs and just adding more supplies and stuff needed for it. And with that, that's all my report.
Thank you for your report. Any questions? Okay. Oh, Vice Chair Nielsen.
That's really cool. Fab Lab. Has that been something that's been on your,
The mayor has been working on it for about 3 years with Chevron. And so it was a project that was originally under Public Works with Carolyn. And then when Carolyn departed the city, I kind of like took over in her stead. So I am helping facilitate it move forward. And ultimately it will be in the rec department once we get going. Chevron will operate it for 2 years. And then once they're done with it, then we'll take over full operation of it.
Thank you. I was wondering what this meant. Okay. We don't have public comment after that, do we?
No.
Oh, good, good. Oh, thank you for the report. Reports from park staff.
Good evening, Commission. Nisha Patel, Public Works Director and City Engineer. And I wasn't keeping track of what update Leslie gave at the last meeting, so I might repeat some things. The Highland Otis Park improvements, they're complete, and the ribbon cutting was held on March 30th. Fernando Park improvements, that's complete, and the ribbon cutting was held on March 13th. And the Lincoln Cunningham Arterial Trail Project, the project construct a multi-use path through Lincoln Cunningham Park from San Pablo Avenue to Lincoln. And some of the offshoots to the other cul-de-sac streets will be included in the plan set as bid alternates. So if we have budget for it, paths to those streets will also be constructed. Carolyn, Assistant Public Works Director, was working on the projects, but since she left, I'm trying to find time to incorporate it into my schedule, also with trying to complete the budget last minute. So the project is slightly delayed, and the design consultant just completed the 100% plans, but he's still trying to put the whole bid package together. So he's still working on the specs. So this project is, if he gets them to me soon, then the project is expected to bid out in the next couple weeks. And if that's the case, the project can be awarded at the second council meeting in July because there is no first council meeting this year. The first meeting falls on July 4th. Havana Police improvements, if you've driven by, that work has started. And the project includes removal of planters, repairing a block wall, installing this DG picnic area. So that's the surface that the picnic tables and the three barbecues have. And the project, again, is in construction now and is expected to be complete in 2 weeks. Catino Park improvements, that project is complete and the ribbon cutting was held on April 20th. I saw a few of you there. Project came out really well, and there was something that we could have added to the projects. We're adding it now, and that's screening behind the homes of Noche Buena that back up to that real grass area. And so we're installing that green screen. The green screen is back ordered, but it is expected to be installed before the end of the fiscal year. And if the budget is approved in next fiscal year, I've included to paint the Connex storage boxes and to sandblast the concrete in front of it, because that's like the only thing that hasn't been improved, and it's pretty rundown looking and it has some graffiti and other marks. So we'll clean that up next fiscal year. And regarding the mural at the skate park, the installation is expected to start in late June. Regarding the mural at Oldemeyer, it's planned to be installed inside the building, and the installation is expected to start in August. The later timeline for this installation is because we need to do a new request for proposals for artists to get the same or a new artist on that project. But we need to competitively bid it. Sabato Park, that project was also constructed, and that project involved the natural turf grass, to some of it to be removed, and then we installed new drought tolerant plants, trees, and golden gravel, and that was to reduce the water usage at that park. Cal-Am gave us a grant to do that, and then Blue Zones contributed picnic tables and benches, and the city purchased the barbecue, the climbing rock, and there's like a rocker. But if the budget gets approved, next fiscal year, we'll install a swing set and engineered wood fiber for the fall surface. And that swing set will replace the swing set that we took out that got rusted out. And the additional improvements will make the park a little more usable and attract more people. Wheeler tennis courts, there's some green screen that will be installed on one side of the fence, the side I think that's facing Wheeler. And again, the green screen was back ordered, so it'll be installed before the end of the fiscal year, but we're still waiting on it right now. And then the resurfacing and the repainting so that we can make some of the courts pickleball courts. That's scheduled for mid-June. I forgot to check on how long it takes for that, but it will, 2 weeks, great. So it might be done by the end of the fiscal year. And I did want to add that we're installing some themed bike racks at 2 parks. There's at Martin Park, we'll install these fish bike racks. And at Trinity Park, we'll install some heron bike racks. So, yeah, that's it for today's update. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you for your report, Ms. Patel. Vice Chair Nielsen.
Thank you for that, Nisha. Ms. Patel, did you say the mural artist, a new artist had to be?
Oh, well, the one artist was selected and that was bid out, and I think they're the same artist as whoever painted the mural at the fire station. Lynetta. And so the Catino mural can get started. But I think they're just setting up to get started. So they'll start in late June. We'll try to get them started in mid-June. And then the council gave some gave some of the NIC funds and changed it around and moved some money around, and they wanted a mural at Oldemeyer. And that's the one where council wasn't supportive of using the same muralist unless we had gone out and got them on board competitively. So we're gonna put that out to bid again and get more proposals and then pick either the same or a different artist. That's
So it sounds like.
that's Oldemeyer.
Yeah, it sounds
But
like you're hoping to get the same artist if the bid is correct.
well, it's not a dollar amount, and there's a subcommittee or committee that helps select. And it's a person from the Arts and History Commission, somebody's from the Recreation Department. So, do you remember the other? Somebody from engineering, and then there's one other. Yeah, somebody from NIC. And so everybody like rates the artist and then decides. So it may not be Lynetta.
Yeah, I'd like to see diversity as far as murals goes, but I just wanted to clarify that. Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Ms. Patel, if my memory serves me correct, at the last meeting, Salvador Park, which is in my neighborhood,
Mhm.
they were waiting on the swing equipment to be delivered. That one little rock, Flintstone rock that's in the middle of the sandbox.
Yeah, there's not a lot there
Yeah.
right now. Just this little teeny climbing rock that looks like a fake rock, and there's like this little like rocker thing.
Yeah.
But I thought that the swing set was being ordered too, but it appears like we don't have the funding right now, and the person who was ordering it, the previous superintendent, he didn't order it. So it was a miscommunication because he was leaving out of his position. So we're going to order it as soon as the new fiscal year starts. Yeah.
Good.
That's it.
Okay. Got me by
Okay, great.
surprise there. Hold on, Ms. Patel. I have a few things.
Sorry about that.
Also, I keep hearing Highland Otis is complete, and it's not complete because we still need the sand for the volleyball court.
Oh,
That's one.
well, I'm sorry, I didn't know about that. That's, well, engineering takes care of capital projects. So if that was discussed with somebody else like recreation, or it didn't get to me, I can check on it. Was it something that was discussed with
Someone
maintenance?
else, but they're no longer an
Okay.
employee of the city. So that was one thing.
I can have it put
Okay.
into the next year's budget if it's
Well-
not, if there isn't a budget for it now.
Hopefully that won't be necessary because Carolyn with FOSPA is looking into getting donation. But we need to have the labor from the Public Works Department do the border thing for it and dig out the old stuff and then install the new sand if we can get the donation. That's one thing. Okay. So I also have noticed that Ellis Park, that the netting on the ends of the basketball, futsal court, soccer court, whatever you want to call it, have been extended to help keep the ball from going in the parking lot or over the fence into the other property. And that's good. That's really good. But in future projects, I think we need to take a better look at being complete and thorough as far as those kind of things. Including them in the design of the park improvements. Also, Catino Park, we did do the ribbon cutting for that new play area and stuff like that. And that's really fantastic. That's a really, really nice area now. There, however, are some concerns with the field, with the lights that are not working properly. And also some areas of the fence that need to be repaired. Like in the dugout areas, there's some missing galvanized pipe that holds the fencing taut. And also the field needs to be, I don't know the proper term
Raked.
for it, fluffed up, because there is, I know, the material to add to the field, and also that the brushes that are pulled behind a vehicle, like a golf cart or whatever kind of vehicle, to fluff it up and maintain it, because it's getting some wear spots that are really noticeable, where the activities are more prevalent. So that needs to be on like a regularly scheduled maintenance program. And the lights, I already said about the lights. Dan,
The lights are scheduled for June 13th.
okay, is that gonna be all of them?
Yes.
Because it's not just one
It's
bank.
2 towers. It's our understanding, yes.
Towers, and then also another light. on
They
the
already
right.
replaced all the other lights. I know that.
Okay, because the other day it wasn't working, last Wednesday.
Because they replaced,
We turned them all on and looked.
all right, I'll check with Monty.
Okay, other than that, let's see here. Oh, I wanted to say one thing about the murals. Those are really, really great. And as far as the future murals, I really wish that we would put more focus on getting local artists, because we do have a lot of talent in our city with the young people that do artwork. You know, I've seen some of the work that they do. They're not a big company or whatever kind of thing, but they do have some really, really great talents. And I think we need to look at them and use them if we can. I think that's all I have. I always have stuff, but thank you for your presentation and all your hard work. Appreciate you. Thank you, Dan. Anyone else? Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. Reports from commissioners. Okay, I'm gonna go to my left. Commissioner Gaines,
Immediately.
wow, that's my left.
I have nothing to report.
Okay. Commissioner
Nothing to
Walker.
report.
Commissioner
Nothing to
Walker.
report.
Okay, Commissioner Daniels.
No reports, just a request, in the next, either regular scheduled meeting or the special meeting, can we get an overhaul on the recreations department?
Overhaul?
Just like an overhaul of information,
oh.
like what's contained inside the recreations department, just so I know what I can stick my hands into.
Gotcha. Vice Chair Nielsen.
I forgot to ask you, Mr. Mewis, if you had a count on the residential free tree giveaway.
121 people have signed the application and 64 of them have picked up their vouchers.
Okay, and we have approximately how many trees? Vouchers?
Upwards of 150.
Okay, great. Sounds good. I'm sure I went somewhere that had to do with Parks and Rec, but I don't remember where. I helped at the last maybe I reported this already. The Thursday, oh, the Saturday. No, I didn't do this Saturday, but anyhow, the once a month meals for, that Oldemire does. I, try to go there every month to help out with those, and that's really fun, actually. I know I'm not making much sense now, but basically it's a fun thing to volunteer at, and they have music and food and everybody has a good time. So it's a great thing that the recreation department does. Thank you.
Those are the monthly themed lunches. Yes. Okay, Commissioner, no, Thursdays. Commissioner Lobo.
We're having our last track meet at Seaside High on Saturday. There's about over 100 kids that come out. I do coach for the Marina Pal. So if you guys want to come out, we have 90 kids in the Marina Pal. 70 of them are Seaside kids, and we've come in first place majority of all of them. Except, yes, last Saturday's meet for PG where Monterey just all of a sudden had all these extra kids out of nowhere. But yeah, if you guys can join us, it starts at 9:30.
Okay. What do I have? I have, oh, the trees. Speaking of the trees. You know, it's really, really important that this tree project thing is really good. But it's really, really important that we start earlier in the year, because not only are we missing the window of opportunity for free water from the rain, but the availability of the variety of trees at the Hana Gardens is really dwindling down by this time of the year. So there is a few fruit trees left and a few natives, but they're really, really not, they're few. It's really not a wide variety to choose from. Okay, there's that. Then also, I really thank the council for giving us another little window of opportunity to do some added plan revisions to the Parks and Recreation Master Plan. And there was a lot of input from the community. And thank you, council member or Mayor Pro Tem Pacheco, for speaking up on behalf of the facilities, and Jim specifically. And I also echoed his concerns to the council. And I think that's all I have. So, anyone else? No? Okay, thank you all for all of your input. Thank you for attending. We will see you at our the special scheduled meeting on June 10th. And followed by the next week, regularly scheduled meeting. So this meeting is adjourned.